Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I am State Representative Dr. Regina English. I represent Colorado House District 17. Thank you for joining us today for our press conference on DEI. We know what's happening at the federal level that's trickling down to the state level, and this is just a statement showing that we as Black people will stand in solidarity. We will push back, we will speak up and apply pressure that we need to apply to let people know that we will not be dismissed, we will not be disrespected, and we will not be erased. So we have a few organizations and different elected officials that will be speaking today, and so we will start now with Reverend Dr. Eric Nelson that represents the National Action Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. English, members of the press. Thank you, Dr. English, members of the press. My name is Eric Nelson, E-R-I-C, last name N-E-L-S-O-N. And thank all of you for being here today. Words cannot describe how I feel right now, so I wrote it down and took a few notes. As the president of National Action Network Colorado, I stand before you today with a sense of purpose. We are at critical crossroads right now, where the very fabric of our society is being tested by forces determined to diminish our diversity, undermine our equity, and silence our voices. We stood in solidarity on Monday with families who lost loved ones due to injustice by the hands of police and RTD. I must say, enough is enough. We cannot continue to put people in power that do nothing, say nothing, and don't even show up. We have to continue to raise our voices until something happens. Today I speak not just as a leader, but as a voice for justice, for dignity, and the undeniable truth for Black leaders, Black women, because it's vital to the progress of our community and our nation. The dismantling of the DEI initiatives and the disrespect shown towards Black leaders and Black women must stop, because it threatens the very principles which our democracy is built upon. So let me be very clear. We will not accept a future where bias and discrimination becomes the norm. We gather here, as you see right now, it sends a very strong, powerful message, one of unity, one of resilience, and unwavering commitment to justice. Our presence is a testament that we stand together, affirming that Black lives, Black women, Black leaders, and voices are essential, respected, and celebrated. To the elected officials, community leaders, and allies present, your support today reinforces the very message that we will continue to fight. We will continue to fight for the equality, the protection, and the dignity of every person. We call on you to stand with us, to advocate fiercely, and to ensure that no one's rights are dismantled or dismissed, because this is a defining moment. We will continue to fight for justice until justice is served. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Now we'll hear from Dr. Rosemarie Allen.
Good morning. I am Dr. Rosemarie Allen here as a member of the NAACP Rocky Mountain Conference. The banning of DEI as an equal opportunity initiative is nothing more than an effort to turn back the hands of time and to promote whiteness at every level. We live in a world where Black children on every single indicator of well-being are at the very bottom. We live in a world where hundreds of thousands of Black women lost their jobs this past year. We live in a world where Black women are being turned down as they're about to deliver their babies and being left to deliver them in cars and on the street. When we ban DEI, we are banning the people who built this country. We have no room for this. I am a person who fought hard through the Black nationalist movement. My parents fought hard through the civil rights movement. My grandparents worked hard as sharecroppers, and the parents before them in forced labor and slavery. Why are we having this conversation? When we erase Black history, we are erasing America's history. Behind me are Black leaders at every level and from every sector, but racism in America is a white problem. We need to fill these hallways up with people who say they are allies to fight against the banning of DEI and the erasure of America's history. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Now we'll hear from Reverend Topaz McBride.
Great day, everyone. I am here representing the Greater Denver Ministerial Alliance and the Economic Development Association for Black Communities. And I too stand representing my sisters, Black women, young and at every age. And as has already been stated, we will not stand by quietly, allowing the continued dismissal, disrespect, disregard, and marginalization that has taken place for far too long. Centuries. Here we are in 2025, and the things that we are being challenged by are inhumane. As has been previously stated, when a woman is left and in a waiting room when she's in labor, and it is evident that she's in labor, and she's not allowed to see a doctor, when a woman is turned away and has to deliver her child in her car, unacceptable. When women of all levels, in terms of their education, their qualifications, their degrees and certificates, their experience and expertise, are released from their positions after building programs, organizations, agencies, and empires that now white men are benefiting from their work with no severance and no justification, but just letting them go. It is evident that that is happening because of the color of their skin. In 2025, we will not stand by and allow universities to make decisions about dismissing equity policies and standards that have been put in place, not to accept people who aren't qualified, but to ensure that people who are qualified have just as much opportunity as anyone else. Because without these DEI standards and even civil rights, we have learned, because even with them, people have been turned down, not promoted, and not given opportunities. And people who have less qualifications have been hired in front of them. So no, this is not about give us something that we don't deserve, give us something that we haven't earned. This is about giving us what we have always deserved, because we work twice as hard, 3 times as hard often, to get less than. And so what we are standing for is not even just the bare minimum, but we're standing for what we deserved far long ago, for the shoulders that we stand on, for the the sacrifices that were made to ensure that we had those rights. And now we are being sent backwards, and that is unacceptable. And so we stand here today in unity, every age, every class, for what is humane, what Dr. King stood for, what Malcolm X stood for, and many others. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend McBride. Now we'll hear from Representative Junie Joseph.
My friends, thank you for being here. And as a Colorado representative and a proud member of the Black Caucus, I stand before you to speak about something fundamental to Colorado's identity and to America's spirit: diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is not just a slogan. It is a commitment to ensuring that every person, no matter their background, has a fair chance to contribute, to succeed, and to belong. Colorado has always been strongest when we open doors, not close them. When we expand opportunities, not restrict them. When we see our diversity not as a challenge, but as a source of our strength, innovation, and resilience. DEI strengthens our institutions, from classrooms to boardrooms, as you've heard, to the halls of government. When more voices are heard, our solution grows smarter. When more perspectives are included, our communities grow stronger. And when every person has a pathway to participate fully in our economy and civic life, we all rise together. That is why the ongoing attacks on DEI, whether through misinformation, fear-mongering, or deliberate policy rollbacks, harm not only the people directly targeted, but all of us. These attacks undermine the Colorado we are building, one rooted in fairness, opportunity, and community. They weaken our ability to attract talent, support strong businesses, and build inclusive environments where people want to live and work. Let me be clear. This is not about division. It is about connection. It is about ensuring every child in this country has an equal shot at success. It is about making sure our veterans or rural communities or immigrants and our LGBTQ+ community members and our communities of colors all have the tools they need to thrive. It is about honoring the full, beautiful spectrum of the people we call Colorado and America home. And let us be honest, President Donald Trump's attempt to divide us will not work. We know this playbook. We've seen it before, and we refuse to go backward. You've heard it before. We refuse to go backwards as Americans, as Coloradans, and as people from everywhere around the state of Colorado, including Boulder. Boulder will continue to fight for DEI and against any policy President Trump advances to divide our community. We will continue to fight for each other, to protect each other, and to build a country where everyone has the freedom to thrive. DEI is not optional in the state of Colorado. It is necessary because of the history of this country, a history that demands we confront inequity with courage, not denial, with action, not avoidance. Colorado succeeds when all Coloradans succeed. America moves forward only when every voice is valued. America moves forward only when every voice is valued. And DEI remains one of the most powerful tools we've had for many years to fulfill the American promise this nation has promised many of us through our Constitution. So today, we must recommit ourselves to this work, not because it is easy, but because it is right. Because our future, Colorado's future, and America's future, including Boulder's future, depends on our willingness to embrace the richness of who we are together. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Joseph. Now we will hear from Mr. Littlejohn with the Colorado Black Civic Engagement Coalition.
Hello, I'm here to represent Sean Moore, President of the Colorado Black Civic Engagement Commission. And first, I'd like to thank the Most High. Second, I'd like to thank the State Representative Dr. English, the members of the legislature, and the community leaders. I stand here today to address the issue that cuts to the core of who we are as a state across Colorado. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are being dismantled under the guise of neutrality, like cost saving or so-called fairness. But let's be clear, dismantling DEI is not neutral. It is a retreat from justice. It is the refusal to confront inequality and the undermining of the very people our institutions claim to serve. DEI was created to open doors long closed by systematic barriers, but DEI alone is not enough. That is why we speak today of DEIJ, diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. I'm sorry. Justice is not a slogan. It is accountability. It is the work that transforms statements into structural change. And even DEIJ is not our final destination. Our community, especially Black women, knows a deeper truth. Liberation. Liberation doesn't ask, how do we fix a system that we inherited? It asks, how do we rebuild the system so everyone can breathe freely and live fully? To speak of justice, we must speak a hard truth. The disrespect of Black women in this state is an insult to our democracy, our values, and our collective moral fabric. When Black women who carry our movements, anchor our families, and lead our communities are dismissed, attacked, or minimized, it is more than personal offense. It is an assault on justice itself. It sends a message that brilliance must shrink. Leadership must apologize, and their humanity is somehow negotiable. We reject that. We will always reject that. When DEI is dismantled, it is not an acronyms that suffer. It is people. It is the child who never sees themselves reflected in leadership. It is the worker excluded from opportunities. It is the Black woman whose expertise is questioned, but whose labor is expected. It is an entire community pushed back into the margins. Colorado cannot call itself forward-thinking while abandoning the very tools that make progress possible. So today, we call on this legislature to recommit not to DEI as a checkbox, but to DEIJ as a moral responsibility, and to liberation as our long-term vision. We are not asking for symbolic gestures. We are demanding justice. We are demanding safety. We are demanding the right to thrive fully and unapologetically. And we will continue organizing, voting, and building until Colorado honors its promise to all of its people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Littlejohn. Now we'll hear from Ms. Bianca Emerson, the president of the Colorado Black Women for Political Action.
Thank you, Representative English. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Bianca Emerson. I'm president of Colorado Black Women for Political Action. We were founded in 1977 by the first African-American female state senator, Gloria Tanner. And our organization is important and needed at this time, especially for the state of Colorado and this country. Every institution that has dismantled DEI programs, you are sending a message loud and clear. It's okay to center Black and female voices when it's convenient. When it's convenient to check the Black box, when it's convenient to check the female or the woman box. But you have let us know you really didn't care in the first place. You have showed us your true colors, and we are taking note. We are taking note that you have bowed down to institutions that are corrupt. You have bowed down to corrupt power in Washington, D.C., and you have bowed down to the play-by-play book of Project 25. And check this out, we see you, and we are taking note. Black women are the most educated bloc in the country, and we have the highest rate of entrepreneurship. And I'm gonna leave you with this. In the words of the great hip-hop artist, Kendrick Lamar, we gonna be all right. Thank you.
Be all right. Now we'll hear from Aurora City Council member elect at large, Ms. Allie Jackson.
Thank you for listening to us today. I stand before you as an alum of DU and a former member of their Black Student Alliance. And when I started to hear how DU was reacting to the asks from presidential administration around DEI, I was disappointed as an alumni. I do understand that we are desperately in need of a new, re-envisioned Civil Rights Act. This current president has made changes within this year to the Civil Rights Act. And it's time, as Dr. Nelson called out earlier, we are at the brink of a revolutionary period. And so it is time to start to re-envision what civil rights work can look like. It is time to understand that DEI is just a symbol, but the work will continue no matter what. And when institutions like DU bow down without being asked to, it sends a message, like we're saying. And so we're here standing before you to send a message back, saying that the community, the Black community in Colorado and Denver will not stand for this. DEI is about inclusion. It is not about exclusion. And a lot of our population needs to be re-educated on that. There are white women, there are white men, there are people with privilege that benefit from DEI. It uplifts from the lowest point in our society. And so, like an indigenous proverb says, be like water and find the lowest point. Because when we lift from the lowest point, the entirety gets lifted up above it. Thank you so much.
Now we will hear from Mr. Terrence Carroll.
Good morning. I'm Terrence Carroll, former Speaker of the great state of Colorado and the first African American, and unfortunately, the only African American to hold that position. I'm also an ordained Baptist minister, and I'm here because Dr. English made me speak this morning. I'm not going to tarry long, as Baptist preachers say, but I'm not going to tarry long at all. But I do want to say a few words about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and why it's important, not just as a practical matter, but its importance to America's great democratic experiment. It says in the Declaration of Independence that we're all created in God's image. We're all created in God's eyes, and as such, we have certain inalienable rights. Among those, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For those of us who were not intended to be included in those great words because our founders were imperfect and the implementation of the Declaration of Independence was imperfect, but for those of us who were not originally included, those few words are a promise that we should be included, and that our democracy means nothing unless all of us are included in the functions of democracy, unless the franchise of democracy is extended to each and every one of us. That's why Dr. King once said that all we're asking for is that the words that are written on the paper be made true. Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are part and parcel of making sure that the words that are written on the paper are made true, that each and every one of us has the ability in this great nation to have life more abundantly. That each and every one of us, no matter what our skin tone, no matter what our gender, no matter who we love, that we can each pursue happiness. And that there's nothing that this government or anyone else can do that would keep us from having that life, from having that liberty, from pursuing happiness. And before I take my seat, I want to speak to my friends who call themselves Christians as I do, but yet are opposed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They remind me of the folks who, back during the period of enslavement, had the slave Bible. And they took out all the parts of the Bible that encouraged the formerly enslaved people to understand who God really was, a God of liberation. Efforts at diversity, equity, and inclusion are efforts to take out the parts of our Constitution and the parts of our Declaration of Independence that made the American democratic experience so important. And for my same friends who call themselves Christian, I invite you to read the book of Genesis, where it says that God created us all in God's image. There were no exceptions to that. And because we're image bearers, we're all image bearers of God, you owe an obligation to treat every person who lives in this nation with a modicum of humanity, with a modicum of human dignity. And diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are the way that we ensure that we all are treated with dignity, humanity, and truly as American citizens. Thank you.
Now we will hear from CU Regent Wanda James.
Good morning, everybody. My name is CU Regent Wanda James, and I have the distinct honor of being the first Black woman in 43 years elected to this board. Not only am I the first Black woman in 43 years elected to this board, I'm also the first Black woman commissioned through the Naval ROTC unit at the University of Colorado Boulder. That's what diversity, equity, and inclusion means. It gives opportunity. So not only have I worn the uniform to fight for this country and to fight for this nation, as my father did and as my grandfather did before him, there is not a bone in my body that would allow a dictator to determine who gets left out of the bounty of America, of the people who have bled for our country, who have fought for our country, who have made our country richer, stronger, and built this country. The disgust that I feel inside when somebody tells me we cannot be a part of this country and they want to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know anything else to do except for fight. Fight in the same way that I was taught to fight as a military officer. It is disgusting to me to watch our universities bow down to the words of a dictator. Our learning institutions. There is nothing more valuable than an education to uplift a people. Not a Black people, not a white people, not a Native American people, not a Latino people, but a people, a country. And that is why we are all standing here today. It is vitally important that we reject the words, the actions of a dictator. Do you all hear me say that? A dictator sits in our White House. And if you need more proof of that, look no further than the military members who just yesterday stood up and told the military that they don't have to obey orders that are not lawful. Our own Congressman Jason Crow, who shares veteran status with me, was called out by the dictator in the White House that he should be put to death. Do we hear that, America?
Unacceptable.
So I want to thank the members of the Black Caucus. I want to thank everybody who is standing here to once again be the voice that stands out. The voice, the power, and the fight that stands out. And I would ask every American to stand with these amazing leaders, to stand with us, to stand with the students, that we deserve an America that gives back to us. Thank you all very much.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am State Representative Dr. Virginia English, the first Black woman to represent El Paso County in the history of the state of Colorado, a proud member of the Black Democratic Legislative Caucus, serving as the vice chair alongside my brother, President Senator Coleman, who is the chair of the Black Democratic Legislative Black Caucus. And I want to thank every organization, every community leader, every elected official that stands with me shoulder to shoulder today. And I just want America and Donald Trump to be clear that we as Black people are not, I repeat, are not scared of you. We will not stand by and take the threats. We will not stand by as America and the Trump administration tries to bully people across this nation here in Colorado, while people are scared of what this dictator is dictating to them, and they choose to dismiss the voices of people of color. We as Black people have built this country. I am here standing before you because the trail that my ancestors blazed, I am because they were. And I was elected to do a job for the state of Colorado, and I will do my job with pride and integrity and ensure that Black people are treated with dignity and respect. I am a Black elected official who has been disrespected numerous times by a racist system that has been built to silence the voices of Black people. Under this very dome we stand under. The disdain in 2025 that myself and other Black women in this building and outside of this building that happen to be highly educated and disrespected, we are putting you on notice today. America, Colorado, we will no longer take this nonsense. I stand with my sister, CU Regent Wanda James. We know this has made national news. We have seen this all over Colorado. The dismissal of her voice and the thousands and thousands of people she represents as CU Regent. And she was silenced. Their voices was silenced because of a system that has been built on racism that's not structured for Black people or people of color to be successful. As a proud member of the Black community, I have encountered disrespect in various forms, whether it be through systemic inequities, social prejudices, or outright disdain. These experiences are not mine alone, which is why we stand here together. They echo throughout communities, resonating with countless others who have faced similar challenges. It is crucial that we confront the harsh realities that persist in treatment of Black individuals. And again, I want to send a clear message to Donald Trump and any other universities, colleges, organizations that will follow his lead, that we will not stand by and allow you to dismiss the voices of Black people. It is more to us than slavery and oppression. And I will note that House Bill 251149, that myself, along with my colleague, Senator Tony Exum, was able to get passed and signed by the governor of Colorado Springs, where comprehensive Black history will be taught across the state of Colorado. As I close, because I seem to be getting a signal, but we have been sending a clear signal and a clear message. This is just not a call for awareness, but this is a call to action. We must put action behind our words as Black people. We must stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and work tirelessly to create a future where individuals, regardless of their race, is treated with the dignity and respect they deserve. And I am honored to be one of the elected officials, one of 100, that will commit to leading this charge that we as Black people will no longer be dismissed, pushed aside, and we will not let our communities be dismantled. Thank you everyone for coming today, and thank you for your words. Are there any questions? Thank you for the question. What the state of Colorado can do in terms of legislation is make sure that we are creating inclusive policies, policies that don't have unintended consequences, especially if they're not policies that's being ran by people of color. And then when these policies are ran, we can ensure that these policies are being implemented. That's the key. We can run all types of policies, but if these policies aren't being implemented and people aren't being held accountable, that's where we see these issues happening. So as a state of Colorado, we can definitely run policies that are comprehensive and inclusive, that everybody in the state of Colorado can be treated with dignity and respect. Thank you.
You mentioned Black History Month last year. Just after hearing everybody's experiences from today, is there any other sector of life that you guys think may need to improve next year?
You know, there's a lot we can do as people of color and as elected officials, but I think what's going to be important in a pivotal moment is that we all begin to authentically work together so that we all can have a voice at the table and make sure that the different areas that Black people and people of color are being affected by, those are the areas that we are targeting when it comes to policy. And to go on and add on to the question that you just asked, this session, myself or Representative Junie Joseph, we are bringing a Black maternal health bill to ensure that women of color don't have to die giving birth, make sure that women of color are listened to and believed when we say there is something wrong, because we heard of the instances that's happening nationally with a lady not being listened to, gave birth 12 minutes later, a Black mom that was wheeled out the hospital, gave birth in her car. That is complete disdain and disrespect for the Black woman. So we will be bringing a Black Mamas bill this upcoming session, as well as a hair care bill, because of the products that are in there that causes harm to reproductive health as well as different cancers. So we're bringing a bill, Representative Joseph and I, bringing a bill forward to where the manufacturer has to identify all those ingredients that are harmful to health, and that's not even only for Black women, because white women wear weave and extensions too. So this is a bill that's collectively helping women, helping people to be safe in this space, and that's important. Any more questions?
Well, a lot of racism is often covert, so a lot of people do it sneakily. It's not necessarily in your face all the time. For any of the leaders up here, what is your message to Black allies in facing something like this? They don't really know where to go.
Say the last part again.
What's your message to Black Coloradans who may be facing racism? They kind of see some of the covert things happening, but don't necessarily have chance.
Come see the Black Caucus. Come see the Black Caucus at the state capitol, 200 East Colfax. It's 8 of us that represent the Black voices of the state of Colorado. We have an open door policy, and to send them a message of hope. We are here. We are not going anywhere. People that are experiencing these things that may not be courageous enough to be out front, like myself or others may be, we will definitely stand strong and be that voice for them. And we will not allow anyone in our community that we have knowledge to be disrespected, disregarded, or dismissed.
I would encourage you to come to the Black Ministerial Alliance or the Greater Denver. Come to the Greater Denver Ministerial Alliance. As the Vice President of Social Justice, that is my primary focus, to stand behind and with people who are being treated wrongfully in whatever area they are experiencing discrimination. And I just want to add also, as it relates to what Coloradoans can do, we need these people who consider themselves to be allies to step up and hold their peers accountable. We need them. This shouldn't be our fight alone, because we are African American, we are Black, but this is everybody's fight. And as our brother said earlier, when he spoke to those who identify as Christians, those who consider themselves to be men and women of God, how are you representing God when you stand by and you allow inhumanity to take place? That is not who God is. So we need everybody in this fight. This is not our fight alone. Thank you.
I'm Brashad Asley, running for U.S. Senate. And let's just be clear, disenfranchisement of the Black community is a disenfranchisement of everyone. We have all started to notice that the billionaire class and the corporation classes have taken control of our government. And that control is systemic from the bottom up. When they disenfranchise one group, they disenfranchise your community, they disenfranchise your economic power. So, it doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Hispanic, or Latino. When your neighbors are disenfranchised, your small businesses suffer. When your neighbors are disenfranchised, your communities suffer. When people come to invest in your areas and those in your area cannot afford to live there, they will not invest. This is an everyone problem. This is a majority problem. This is not a problem just for one community. This is a problem for all. And we must identify that, because your chance of getting control of your government is slipping away. And it's slipping away daily under the guise of getting rid of DEI, under the guise of disenfranchising those with disabilities, the blind, the deaf, the wheelchair users. It's disenfranchising everyone, and your community will suffer as a whole.
I just want to say that we have to be cognizant of the time that we're in, and we have to use the resources and the tools that we have. So you have to start documenting things that you're experiencing. Someone referenced the 2 instances that we've seen recently with the women who had to give birth in their cars and return away. Those nurses should have been reported to the state nursing board. So when you are, if you are experiencing things like this, find out who they are, get their name. I don't coherent who it is, if it's a police officer, if it's a nurse, if it's a doctor, and your boss. If you feel that you have been targeted or you are being treated poorly, document it, number one, and then report their behinds. Thank you.
I just wanted to answer to your questions, and thank you for that question. I just wanted to add, your question is, what would we say to our community members who are suffering and experiencing discrimination at this time, especially discrimination under our current administration? The thing is, we've seen this before. This is not the first time. The American people, we are resilient. President Donald Trump is only around for another 3 years, but America, hopefully it is forever, that we're gonna be here for the long term and the long haul. And when we look at our community members, we have to know that what's going on is temporary, and we have to live together 3 years beyond President Donald Trump. So that means we have to learn to live together and survive this administration together and support one another. So I'd say to my friends and my family members and who are suffering right now with police raids or raids from ICE is to hang in there, support your community members and fight for them, because we are here to stay, but Donald Trump is not.
And I just want to add real quick that allyship is putting action behind words, but not only do we stand here in solidarity as Black people, but I just want to recognize real quick just a few people that have lost their lives here in the state of Colorado. So if you would give me a moment to do that, I will name some of them. In 2018, we had Richard Gary Black Jr. 2019, we had Devon Bailey in Colorado Springs, where I represent in my district. 2019, Elijah McClain. 2020, William DeBoose. 2023, Jordell Richardson. 2023, Brandon Cole. 2024, Kylan Lewis. 2024, Corey Dillard. 2025, Rashad Johnson. And lastly, 2025, Rajon Bell Stubberfield. This list is exhausting, it's unacceptable. And we will continue to show up and speak up and let our community know that we are here from them. If you are not a person of color, but you say you are an ally, we need your allyship to now put action behind your words. And that's where the real work happens. So I encourage everyone that's experiencing something that is not able to speak those words, come to someone that can speak those words for you, and that you will show up for them. And that's what we do here as the Black Caucus, our Black elected officials, and you heard from organizations that do the same work, because we're in this work together. Thank you.
Kind of like these shape of the filters out there.